approach, and that it was a constant discussion. So can you shed some light on some of the discussion you've had internally and what kind of debate that you've had on reopening the province?
Well, we have a vigorous debate. There's a tale of two provinces, so I've always said this. There's the urban centers, and then there's the rural centers that we don't have as many cases. And I understand that, but right now we have to be methodical. We have to be super cautious opening up. We vetted this list upside down, sideways. We went to the stakeholders, spoke to them as well, talked to a lot of municipalities about it, and talked to the people. And we brought it back and debated it within caucus. And then it went to a committee. Then the committee debated it. And then it goes to another committee. Then it finally comes forward to the health table. And then the health table decides yay or nay. They have the final say, the health table. We have to, and then we pass it. The last decision comes from health table. And they'll tell us yes, no, down the road. And that's how it works.
That's how it works. I love when Doug's saying that's how it works.
Thank you.
I don't know what he's talking about, but that's how it works.
Some cottage owners in Ottawa want to access the cottages in the Gatineau Hills, which is bridge, but they can't cross into Quebec because of ongoing restrictions. So I'm curious as to whether you pleaded their case with Premier Legault and if Ontario has any plans on stopping Quebecers going into Ontario to shop or travel.
Well, we just recommend that people
stay within
their own,
everybody a little bump. Everybody needs a little
bump.
With
Legault, they're facing some extremely tough times in certain areas of the province, and
I told the landlord straight, nobody's going to rent your shit.
Let's stay within our own boundaries right now, and hopefully in the next little while, if the numbers continue to go down, then they'll be able to go to their cottage in Quebec there.
Next question. Your next question comes from Allison Jones with the Canadian Press. Please go ahead. Hi, Premier.
Hi, Allison.
Just to follow up on Cynthia's question about commercial evictions, you say that you're on the side of tenants and you're asking landlords to be flexible. I know Minister Phillips has
75% or you get 0%. That's what he said.
For this federal provincial rent relief program to roll out. But I'm not sure I've heard from either of you what the downside would be in putting in place even a temporary pause on commercial eviction.
Well, again, I think that and this is very, very possible. When someone signs a contract for a long-term lease, government steps in there. There's a lot of legal issues we'll deal with as well. What I'm asking, I'm pleading landlords, be flexible. You're getting 75% of the rent. Things could be a lot worse. Like I said, you could have 0%. Help someone else, give them a break, and work with them for the next few months. It's not like there's a lineup of tenants waiting to get into their businesses or their buildings. It's just not happening. So I don't know. As a business person myself, you either get 0 or you get 75%. And you not only do you not get 0, but you're still paying maintenance, you're still paying costs, electricity, you're still paying taxes. So hang in there, work with them for 25 then. Be a good landlord, support them. What drives me crazy? I can't stand these vicious landlords. You got to protect the little guy all the time. They're struggling, and so. I just wish they could hang in there for a couple months. It's not going to be the end of the world, and just protect the small businesses. And to all the big landlords out there, have a heart.
And speaking of small businesses, on Tuesday, quite a few small businesses will be allowed to reopen. But it will likely be quite some time before they see anything close to regular revenues returning. Are you planning any sort of targeted stimulus for small businesses as they're allowed to reopen?
Well, we work hand in hand with the federal government, and there's so many times I come up here and I say, we need support of the federal government. They've been incredible. The Deputy Prime Minister and the Prime Minister, they've constantly responded, not just to myself, but other premiers. When we need support, they're on the phone right away saying, how can we help you? with municipalities. How can I help you? So they're incredible. We have a great working relationship. So the small businesses, I know they have access to $40,000 dollar loan, and we're working with them also $1 billion towards the rent subsidy as well. We're reducing or holding electricity rates. We're supporting them on when they hire staff. So I think we've done quite a bit. Do I wish we could do more? Yes, I wish we could do more. But it goes back to we just don't have the money, and we don't have the printing press that the feds have. But in saying that, the federal government have been absolute champions, in my opinion, always stepping up for us.
Technically, the Queen owns that.
Last question. Your final question comes from Rob Ferguson with the Toronto Star. Please go ahead.
Oh, hi, Premier. Wanted to ask about, yesterday you were talking about, at some point soon we're going to probably go back up to an allowable crowd size of 10 from the current 5. When can people expect that? I'm asking because some people think there's a discrepancy between with people being allowed to go into more stores and house cleaners, for example, being allowed to visit 2 or 3 houses a day. So there's household mixing with cleaners.
Yeah.
Going to be going back and forth. So why not just boost the crowd size up to 10?
Well,
when will that happen?
Yeah, Rob, I'm going to pass this over to the Minister of Health. Thank you.
Hi, Rob. That is something that we are studying very closely right now, the idea of bubbling, cohorting, increasing the numbers, because I know that people are wanting to spend more time with family and friends. So the Chief Medical Officer of Health is giving that very serious consideration, and you can expect to hear from us, I would expect next week on that issue, because with the warmer weather coming, I know people will want to be getting together for barbecues and other occasions. So we are looking at the safest and healthiest way in order to do that.
Okay, thanks for that, Minister. And another one for you, just on this glitch with the numbers. Were these missing cases from Toronto? Or otherwise, how did this happen, and how are we going to avoid it in the future?
This was actually just a technological glitch with our system that we only found out about yesterday after our press conference and after the numbers were reported. It has been rectified. We don't expect it's going to be happening again. It's just that for whatever reason, the number 87 cases from the City of Toronto weren't uploaded. But we have fixed that problem. And so while the number isn't as good as we thought yesterday, it still is good. The total number of cases from yesterday were actually 341, and there's 345, and there's 341 today. So we are still seeing a gradual, slow downturn, but that's exactly what we need to see in order to continue to open up our economy. Thank you, everyone.
And you've been listening to Premier Doug Ford in the Provincial Government's Daily Briefing here on 680 News. Premier Doug Ford actually starting his briefing today talking about cheesecake. Yeah, we're talking about how families are going to be doing more baking as they are stuck indoors. Actually talking about the supply chain when it comes to some of those essential supplies for baking and what hopefully will be available. Thank you.
He told us how he makes cheesecake and he told us how hard it is to get ingredients.
On Tuesday, Education Minister Stephen Lecce will have an announcement about education and daycares. More on that to come. This is 680 News.
Well, the long weekend is here, and it won't be a normal holiday. And if baking isn't your thing, some of the COVID-19 restrictions are easing. This comes as we find out there was a reporting glitch in the case numbers yesterday. And we also just heard from the Premier as well as Health Minister Christine Elliott. 680's Stuart McGinn joins us live with all that and more. Stuart.
I read by tomorrow, it's a small list of businesses that can begin operating again, like golf courses, private parks and marinas. More outdoor activities like recreation and sport facilities join the list on Tuesday, along with the bigger step of allowing any retail store outside of a mall to open their doors by then as well. Health Minister Christine Elliott says a broad focus on testing and allowing anyone with symptoms to be swabbed will help keep tabs on the province's progress.
It is more of an emphasis now on public testing, which we need to have so that we can understand what's happening in the community as we open up our economy.
As you just heard here on 680 News, Christine Elliott just confirming that glitch that led to a misleading one-day jump in cases in the provincial data today. We have 420 new cases shown, but they include 87 cases from Toronto that were missed in yesterday's data due to a technical error, one they don't believe is going to happen again because they said they have resolved the issue, meaning the numbers are still on this downward trend and have been in the mid-300s the last 2 days. Reporting live, Stuart Begin, 680 News.
Toronto Mayor John Tory now hinting at fewer city-run summer camp options this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tory telling the CBC that things will be different this summer, and there likely won't be some of the camps that people are expecting. Now, earlier this month, Tory had said the city would be making a final decision about its camp offerings by today. He says he is hopeful staff will be able to develop another model that involves more staff to ensure kids are safe if they do end up going to camp.
680 News Time, 1:36. And we've got breaking news from the Department of National Defense, where 5 members of the Canadian Armed Forces have contracted COVID-19 while helping at long-term care homes in both Ontario and Quebec. A statement from the military confirms 1 member serving at a care home in Ontario has become ill, and 4 are in facilities in Quebec. The 2 provinces had asked for the military's help as outbreaks overwhelmed staff at the facilities. Every member serving as part of what is known as Operation Laser received specialized training and PPE. The Armed Forces have about 1,400 personnel committed to 25 long-term care facilities in Quebec and 275 members at 5 facilities in Ontario.
Well, in Ottawa today as well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says a federal wage subsidy for employees and businesses hard hit by the pandemic will now last through the summer.
Will be renewed for at least another 3 months. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says it will be in place for businesses until the end of August as we continue to go through the reopening and recovery stages of this pandemic. Not only that, Trudeau says the government is looking at ways to change the program so more businesses can access it.
One of the things we'll be looking at is the 30% revenue decline threshold for eligibility. As businesses start up, needing a decline shouldn't be a barrier to growth.
The finance minister says effective today, journalism and athletic associations and non-public schools and colleges can also apply. The goal of the subsidy is to see the feds cover up to 75% of a company's payroll so they can move people off the emergency response benefit and back into the workforce. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer pushing the government to resume in-person sittings of the House of Commons on May 25th.
Mr. Trudeau should not be using a health pandemic to avoid accountability and oversight.
And Canada's chief public health officer says we need to continue social distancing and health measures even though it's the long weekend. Dr. Theresa Tam says going out should only be an option if we can go out smart. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
A new report paints another grim picture the pandemic is having on the province's workforce. 680's Melvin Qureshi joins us with more.
We know the shutdown has had a major impact on jobs, and now the Financial Accountability Office has the numbers to prove it, showing 2.2 million jobs have been affected since late February, mostly because of the pandemic. Half of those people lost their jobs, the other half have had their hours significantly reduced.
To zero.
And is a financial accountability officer for the province.
That doesn't count as
tells me
job
this
loss,
is
though.
unprecedented territory.
Historically, we've never seen anything this rapid. I think the last time we've seen such a significant job loss was back in 2009, if you will, so right after the Great Recession. Prior to that, we probably would have seen these bad numbers during the Great Depression, but there was no data there, so we can't compare that far.
But he says because these job losses were not caused by economic factors, but rather a government-ordered shutdown, it's likely there will be a rapid recovery once things get back to normal. I'm Melvin Qureshi.
Well, Premier Doug Ford has released a video now showing just how he makes his cherry cheesecake. During a news conference this week, Ford boasting about making the best cherry cheesecake ever. The video posted on the Premier's Twitter account today shows Ford at home making what he calls his famous recipe, saying he's got it memorized and has had it memorized since he was 10 when he learned it from his mom.
It looks like a big motherfucker, don't it?
Open up a cheesecake factory. That, my friends, is the Premier's cheesecake.
Ford says baking is a great way to relieve stress, and he's calling for Ontarians to share their own baking videos as well.
Do you think he'll make a cheesecake for us?
Probably not.
Hey, Dougie, I'm gonna bake.
Well, if you were hoping to spend a lot of time outside this weekend instead of baking, 680's Leah Johansson has some bad news.
Yeah, you'll definitely need that umbrella this weekend. 680's weather specialist Denise Andriacci tells us we're expecting heavy rain for much of the long weekend. Sunday, we could see up to 35 millimeters of rain for pockets of southern Ontario and the GTA. Gusty winds and even stronger winds for Monday with more rain in the forecast, probably about 10 to 15 additional millimeters. We should see a high near 16 degrees tomorrow, but it will cool off for Sunday and Monday with highs near 12. Bill Harding, mayor of Muskoka Lakes, says if you do need to head north to check on your cottage, plan to bring all your supplies and don't leave your property unless absolutely necessary. I'm Leah Johansson.
Now the 680 News gas price update and processed price of gas after dropping 3 cents last night. Guess what? Going up 3 cents a liter at midnight tonight to 90.9 cents a liter.
680 News Time, 140.
Working from home, on the couch, no kids. Yep, this is your new normal. So isn't it time you got a new home office suite? Turn your basement into a beautiful home office suite from just $4.90 a month. Fully functional. Bathroom, gym, bar, whatever you want in just 3 weeks. Save money, save time, and increase the value of your home. For a virtual consultation, visit AGMRenovations.com.
And by the way, we do bathroom renovations too.
680 News Time, 1:51.
Time for 680 News, traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prenskus.
This report is brought to you by the Ontario Nurses Association. Westbound on the 401, the ramp to the 400 is closed because of a collision. Emergency crews are on that scene. Police have blocked off that ramp, so drivers are forced onto Black Creek Drive. So you will have to take quite a detour here. So westbound on the 401, approaching the 400 and the collectors, that's where it gets jammed up, and then you cannot access the 400. Westbound 401, beyond this, we had a brief problem approaching Trafalgar. That's out of the way now, so delays through that area have improved. We still have this issue on the 427 northbound, approaching Airport Road. The 2 left lanes are blocked because of a crash. That vehicle has been put back on its wheels, but a heavy backup northbound 427 from north of the 401 up to Airport Road. Eastbound on the 401, on the ramp to Islington, the right lane is blocked because of a stalled truck, so watch out for that. It says you're coming around the bend of that ramp. And a slow go eastbound on the 401, delays from east of the 427 to the 400 in the express and collectors. Off the highways, northbound Dixie, that's jammed from Britannia up to Derry, single lane construction through that stretch. In honor of Nursing Week, the Ontario Nurses Association extends its gratitude to nurses across the province for providing compassion and comfort that means so much to those in their care. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriacci.
Well, it's 17 downtown, 18 at Pearson. We are seeing some quieter conditions in pockets of the GTA, but some showers and scattered thunderstorms are still moving through. Looks like thunderstorm activity in the next few hours between Hamilton and Niagara along that QE. That will bring some heavy downpours, really strong winds. That's what we're seeing across many parts of southwestern Ontario, and that's kind of the biggest characteristic of the thunderstorm activity too. For the GTA, probably just some scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Doesn't look too active, but it is going to be wet and unsettled until we move into later afternoon and early evening. That's when we get into some clearing, because tomorrow will be lovely, sunny and near 20 degrees. Your guaranteed high today is 17.
And right now in downtown Toronto is 143.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute live from the Business Center and Chris McCusker. Chris.
Oh, Irene, I'm watching this one data point. The NASDAQ is getting very close yet again to break even on the year. So right now it is higher by 7 points, down by 0.2% year to date. The S&P is lower by a single point, and the Dow is down 37. So Wall Street off its lows for the day. TSX still higher. It's up by 101, 14,610. Due in large part to a big bounce in the gold sector. Gold itself up by $16, close to a 3-week high, 17.57. Oil is higher by $1.82 to $29.38. down by 1/3 of a cent, 70.85 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Research shows that investors who work with an advisor accumulate 3.9 times more assets than those who don't. Advice matters.
I'm still
Now
only
more than
minute
ever.
to this.
Learn
This is still
more
a
at
novel.
dynamic.ca/advice.
At PEO Leadership, I'm surrounded by other business leaders who challenge me to become better. Les Vanderwall, founder and CEO of Uber. Leaders really need to step outside their world and get new perspectives. PEO Leadership is more than peer-to-peer advisory. It's a community of top executives with global experience. Our retail landscape is rapidly changing. PEO Leadership has been vital in helping us navigate through this. The time to step up and lead is now. Go to
I smoked the joint first, I would check all the wires. I might hook them up back.
of Reliance Home Comfort. Despite everything that's going on, we know that some of you, we still need air conditioning, hot water, or plumbing help. I'd like to personally assure you that as an essential service, we're not only here for you 24 hours a day, every day, but also taking steps to make every visit safe for you through this together. Thank you.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
It's 18 degrees. Wow, with some light drizzle. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Irene Precklett.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories on this Friday afternoon.
Well, it's the day before more COVID-19 restrictions get eased in Ontario. It includes the opening of golf courses and marinas tomorrow. It comes with the latest COVID-19 provincial numbers, but the number is not telling the glitch in yesterday's data with the number of cases underreported, but officials say the numbers are still moving in the right direction. The Financial Accountability Office is out with a new report estimating that about 2.2 million Ontario workers have been affected by the ongoing economic shutdown. That's nearly 1 in 3 jobs being lost or having hours sharply reduced. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says a federal wage subsidy for employees in businesses hard hit by COVID-19 will last at least until the end of August. The subsidy was set to expire in the first week of June. And time now for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Good afternoon, Andrew Dye.
Irene, Major League Baseball has sent out its draft info to agents and teams. The first round will go June 10th, beginning at 7 Eastern. Rounds 2 to 5 the following day. Teams may contact passed over players on June 14th. An unlimited number of passed over players can be signed for $20,000 or less. That signing deadline is August 1st. And the slot value for the top pick held by the Detroit Tigers is $8,415,300. Well, testing week. And for those who show symptoms, rapid point-of-contact testing. He says the idea of playing games with no fans is pretty novel, and he respects the league for exploring creative ways to make it work. But Michael Jordan's longtime agent David Falk told Good Show this morning he'd be very surprised, certainly in the NBA, if they play before Christmas. And the NHL Players Association has announced the NHLPA Open featuring a tournament created by 590.
Lowe's would like to raise a hammer to everyone who got used to their new conference room.
What was that? We're looking at page 6 right now. We're talking about the projections. We're Q3. Is that clear?
You've made it to spring, and it's time to build that extra room outside. Find everything you need to build your dream backyard at Lowe's.ca and enjoy free parcel delivery and curbside pickup. Conditions apply. Lowe's. Make your yard your home.
Want to discover this year's most innovative new products? Visit Product of the Year, Innovative New Products for 2020. The world's largest consumer-voted award for product innovation that recognizes product design, functionality, and packaging. Here.ca. Where they found a man with gunshot wounds. He's been identified as 23-year-old Hashim Kanani of Toronto. Police say witnesses reported 3 males seen running from the area, but no further descriptions have so forth in connection with a hit and run in Scarborough yesterday. It happened near Markham Road and Eglinton. Police say the driver losing control of the car, mounting a sidewalk where 3 people were standing. The car involved was later found in Whitby. He's sympathetic, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau isn't offering any hope to couples and families separated by the border. He says Canadians across the country are facing extremely difficult situations.
Sure, I'd hook the backwards because it was quiet as fuck the last
These
time.
are things that are extraordinarily difficult. Families are stretched across the country and unable to see each other. People are stuck overseas, and despite the hundreds of repatriation flights we've brought, there are others who simply can't come home.
Multi-year investment sending $4 million to help the GTHA recover from COVID-19. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Well, a bit of scattered wet weather popping back into the GTA. It will be a little more scattered and isolated. There is the risk of a thunderstorm this but maybe into the GTA. Definitely Hamilton to Niagara. If you're going to be traveling on that QE in the next couple of hours, we'll probably see some thunderstorm activity, heavy downpours affecting the drive through that way. And then still some steady rain in through cottage country as well, even though most of it's lightened up
Every
here
30 seconds,
closer to home.
you're obviously stable enough to keep...
Contact your local dealer. We're ready when you are.
The bravery of our healthcare workers is admirable. So 680 News is giving you the opportunity to pay it forward to our healthcare heroes. From 5 well-balanced PC Chef meal kits to thank them for the essential work they are doing. PC Chef helps you put a chef-inspired meal on the table in minutes. Recognizing healthcare heroes nourished for their heroic work ahead. Pay it forward today.
Chris McCusker, and things looking better on Wall Street? Yeah, still not great, but better than earlier, Irene. The latest retail sales data in the U.S. actually hit a record low, a drop of 16.4% with stores closed, of course, because of coronavirus. And even though it was largely expected, it doesn't make it any easier to stomach. Doug Porter is chief economist at the Bank of Montreal.
We know that spending activity,
What
maybe
the
even
fuck is
employment will
wrong
come
with
back.
my internet connection?
the
Exactly
question
10
is,
seconds on, 10 seconds off.
what kind of
I'm just gonna end
percentages
it.
do we reverse in the next couple months onwards levels even by the end of next year? But we can come close, and obviously the economy is going to look a lot different if we don't have an effective vaccine.
The Dow right
vaccines
now
have something to do with the economy.
Points,
What the fuck are you talking about?
23,615.
Who gets
and over
vaccines?
the last 5
Kids and
days,
seniors.
the Dow off by close to 3%,
Two groups of people that have no
making
choice
it the
in
big
that,
loser.
basically. Seniors
Cheers
'cause they're
and Nike
stupid.
not doing the Dow
Kids 'cause
today.
they're
It is
stupid.
higher, but only up sales. Now, all stores in China and South Korea have reopened, although Nike
I didn't put
says
the
store
vaccine clinics
traffic
in the community
remains
centers
below
where I
last
can
year's
see them
levels.
and make these
The
observations.
S&P
You
right
did.
now is down by 3 in the day.
Oh, I'm not getting anything on that. Let's get something. No? Oh, we're fucking off the internet again. I'll find something to do just to spite this shit. Okay, that's not connecting for some reason. I have to figure that out. Connection is unstable. Alright, so I took the phone off the hook while it was ringing and it did not answer.
Reports. Here's Gary Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by ExploreNet Internet. No change in this problem. The 401 westbound ramp to the 400 remains closed. This is because of a collision since you're merging with traffic coming from the southbound 400 onto Black Creek Drive. So the southbound 400 ramp to Jane, that is really heavy. That's where everybody's turning around to go back up onto the northbound 400. So definitely an inconvenience. And a backup westbound on the 401. It's jammed from west of Keel and the collectors onto the Black Creek Drive ramp. Eastbound on the 401, we have a problem approaching Kipling. The right lane is now blocked because of a collision. A couple of tow trucks are on the scene here, and it's jammed up on the eastbound 401 from the 427 to Kipling. Once you're east of Kipling, though, it's pretty well wide open. Heading into the Durham region, looks good on the eastbound 401. Northbound on the 427, just got an update from the MTO. We still have this issue approaching Airport Road. The right lane is blocked with a collision, but it looks like delays have eased off. So just watch out for that northbound 427 as you're approaching Airport Road. And on city streets, northbound Dixie, that's heavy from just north of Britannia up to Derry, single lane construction through that stretch. Accelerate your internet with ExploreNet LTE service, now with unlimited data. Visit explorenet.com for details. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
It's 17
It's not
degrees
as old as it
downtown.
looks.
That's your guaranteed high for today and very close to seasonal. It was a very soggy start. It's still misty and kind of overcast out there. We've got more scattered showers on the way this afternoon. It's going to be a little more scattered and isolated as opposed to the steady rain that we had earlier. But we've got the risk of thunderstorms too as we move through the afternoon. Non-severe isolated, maybe some heavy downpours in through the west end of the GTA with these storms. But again, it's not.
Yeah, that's right, Irene. Today's new cases include 87 that were missed in yesterday's numbers, but Health Minister Christine Elliott says that issue has since been resolved.
This was actually just a technological glitch with our system that we only found out about yesterday.
428 new cases posted actually translates to back-to-back days of cases in the mid-300s, keeping the province's numbers still slowly trending downwards ahead of stage one, allowing businesses to open. The Premier had a message of reassurance today.
We got into this together. We're going to get out of it together.
Of course, as private parks and marinas can open back up tomorrow, while any retail store outside of a mall can open Tuesday. The same day, the province says we'll get an update on schools and childcare from Minister Stephen Lecce. Story, Mark.
There's something
Steve,
incorrect.
between parties for the May 2-4 and the return of babysitting and house cleaning services next week, many Ontarians are asking
Babysitting
these
services
days,
were-
how can I possibly maintain a crowd limit of only 5 inside my own home? Minister of Health Christine Elliott says changes are coming, but not before the long weekend.
And you can expect to hear from us, I would expect next week on that issue. Because with the warmer weather coming, I know people will want to be getting together for barbecues and other occasions. So we are looking at the safest and healthiest way in order to do that.
Premier Doug Ford spoke about barbecues specifically today, saying just keep 2 meters apart from each other if you're having people over, and as for babies,
They keep their distance.
and for the long weekend in general, the Premier is also reminding everyone
come
to
within
practice
2
physical
meters and they
distancing,
tell my
but he admits
mom.
he can't force them to.
You just can't police 14.5 million people.
Reporting
really,
live,
Doug?
I'm Mark.
Where the military assistants at long-term care facilities in Ontario and Quebec had these. The military confirming 1 member serving at a care home at the GTA has become ill, and 4 in facilities in Quebec. There are about 1,400 personnel at 25 long-term care facilities in Quebec and 275 members at 5 facilities in Ontario.
Meanwhile, as a long weekend arrives, there is a warning from Canada's Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Teresa Tam, who says it's vital we all continue to practice social distancing and follow the advice of health officials.
So no matter where we are this long weekend, going out should only be an option if we can go out smart.
Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
680 News Time 208. A new company is looking to pick up where Fedora left off. 680's business editor Chris McCusker explains.
Fedora ceased operations in Canada on May 11th over profitability concerns, and it began bankruptcy proceedings. Enter FaceDrive, a company that launched about a month ago. It
Because
says
it's the
it's
same
signed
people
a
who are going to
binding
hire the
term
same
sheet,
people, but
which
no
could see
union
it
this
nab
time.
some
Right?
of Fedora Canada's assets. The Toronto-based company says if it meets conditions laid out in a to-be negotiated purchase agreement and gets court approval, it could gain access to 5,500 restaurant partners, along with potentially the customer base. FaceDrive describes itself as a people and planet first ride-sharing platform. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Certainly might be a good weekend to start that new puzzle or even
Those are the days when
This update
What
and
the day
Pro
looks
predicting the
like
price
tomorrow.
will go
I'm
up
not
3 cents at
correct.
midnight to 90.9 cents a liter at most GTA stations.
This is 680
I
News.
saw them coins go flying
I'm
by.
cardiologist Sarah Bahar on behalf of Heart and Stroke. During the pandemic, people with conditions or stroke are suffering at
Oh, I don't
home,
believe
too
you.
afraid to seek help, risking irreversible harm and causing complications not seen for decades. Hospitals have taken extra precautions to treat patients safely. Call 911 if you or someone you know is experiencing signs of heart attack, stroke, or cardiac arrest. Do not let COVID-19 destroy more lives. Learn more at heartandstroke.ca.
I'm not accepting the idea that COVID is to blame. People not calling 911. I don't believe it.
Not so good on the 401. We have problems in both
It doesn't make
directions.
sense.
This
It
report
doesn't
is
make
brought to you
sense.
by 407 ETR.
Westbound 401, the ramp to the 400, that is closed because of a collision. Emergency crews are here, so this is causing grief for drivers. Westbound 401, it's jammed from west of Keel and the collectors, and you're merging with traffic coming from the southbound 400 and the eastbound 401 onto Black Creek. So hence a major backup on the southbound 400 ramp to Jane. That's where most people from the westbound 401 are turning. So again, westbound 401, no access to the 400. Eastbound on the 401, approaching Kipling, the two right lanes are now blocked with this crash. Emergency crews have arrived on the scene, and it's jammed eastbound 7 approaching Airport Road. MTO reporting the right lane blocked there because of a collision, but I'm not seeing any delays along that route. It's a pretty decent drive. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, not too bad. It's just starting to get busy from Eglinton up to York Mills. And off the highways, northbound Dixie, that's jammed from Britannia up to Derry. Only one lane is getting through that stretch because of construction. So if you don't have to take northbound Dixie, don't use northbound
by a point. So investors sort of looking past disappointing retail sales data, which did show a drop of 16.4% in April. And we are seeing a bit of a turnaround, I guess, for a second straight day. We saw this yesterday as well. TSX has been higher for much of the session. It's still up by 129 points, 14,638. Gold is higher by $15, $16.55. Oil up by $2, $29.60.